Royal Enfield was sold to the Lal family for a sum of 3 crore rupees, and the current valuation of the company is 10,000 crore rupees. How did an old frail company that had collapsed rise from the ashes and go on to become a wildly successful company beyond anyone's imagination? They have an interesting story. In fact, at one point they even manufactured a diesel-powered motorcycle. How did a company become so iconic that it etched itself into the identity of an entire nation? We find out this and more in the video. This is Knexchange. The first Royal Enfield motorcycle was built in 1901. The Enfield Cycle Company was responsible for the design and original production of the Royal Enfield Bullet, the longest lived motorcycle design in continuous production in history. Enfields were used extensively in the World War, and after the Indian Independence Act 1947, the government looked for a suitable motorcycle for its army to patrol the country's border. In 1952, the Royal Enfield Bullet was chosen as the most suitable bike for the job, and in 1954, the government ordered 800 units of the 350cc model. Eventually, in 1955, Royal Enfield partnered with Madras Motors in India to form Enfield India, and a purpose-built factory was constructed at Tiruvottiur near Madras. Enfield India was chugging along with production and even started exporting the 350cc Bullet to UK and Europe and other markets, of course, in 1977. As mentioned earlier, they even used to sell diesel-powered Bullet motorcycle in India, also known as the Royal Enfield Taurus. The rare Bullet variant was sold in the late 1980s, and the advantage of this model was that it had a claim mileage of above 85 kilometers to the litre. But of course, the shortcomings of using diesel as fuel caught up with the company, and the Taurus was phased out as it could simply not meet the government's emission standards. In overseas markets like US, Japanese brands were wreaking havoc for brands like Harley and other British manufacturers. Honda had been wildly successful in America with good products but also smart dealership networking and marketing. The tagline, "You meet the nicest people on a Honda," originated from adverts released in the US.
Okay, let's go. Sometimes it takes a woman to get things moving. She knows there's only one way to make decisions like this. Go to your Honda dealer. He's got the answers. 15 different Honda models. The 50, 200 miles to the gallon. Price? Lower than you'd imagine. And if you want to trade in for one of the big ones, the Honda Super Hawk 305cc. Of course, there's the matter of getting Dad to agree. But it doesn't take long once you ride a Honda. Surprise! So, are you ready? Well, even if you're left holding the bag. You must admit, you meet the nicest people on a Honda. World's biggest seller.
The Japs were inevitable, and in the 80s they arrived in India and, like the rest of the world, quickly started dominating the Indian market as well.
I'm Sunny. I'm Bunty. I have the finest looking bike in town. I ride it. I've tried it. The finest bike you ever saw. Just one look is all it takes. Hero Honda. You made my day. Hero Honda. What a bike.
As Enfield India was struggling to stay afloat in troubled waters, a company showed up and Enfield was given a renewed hope of survival. In 1994, commercial vehicle and tractor manufacturer the Eicher Group acquired Enfield India Limited. Eicher has its root in India dating back to 1948, and it renamed the company Royal Enfield Motors Limited. The founder, Vikram Lal, was a motorcyclist himself and had owned a Bullet. His passion for riding was passed down to his son Siddharth, who at 26 took over as CEO in the year 2000, and there began rebuilding the legend of the Royal Enfield brand. One common way to cite how successful Enfield has been under Siddharth is a statement quoted by those interested in the economics of brands. If you had spent Rs 55,000 to buy a Royal Enfield motorcycle in 2001, you would now have an old bike. But if you had invested the same Rs 55,000 in shares of Eicher Motors, the company that makes Enfield bikes, your investment would have been worth 4.75 crores now. Siddharth undertook an intense portfolio analysis and took a hard call. He decided to divest 13 businesses and put all money and focus behind Royal Enfield and trucks, two businesses where he believed the group had a genuine shot at leadership. He wanted to be good in one or two businesses instead of a mediocre player in 15 small businesses.
My first job I took up was portfolio rationalization, and I sold pretty much 13 out of 15 of our businesses. Eventually, we were left with only two businesses. One is the commercial vehicle business. The other business which we kept was Royal Enfield.
Siddharth did the mathematics, projections, and all that he would need to get the motorcycle business to the next level. He himself is an avid rider and has tested motorcycles for thousands of kilometers. Leading from the front has given him the skill, experience, and knowledge required to grow the company exponentially. In 2005, the company was selling only about 25,000 bikes every year, and in December 2020, the company had sold around 65,000 units just in a month. Siddharth utilized principles like economies of scale to optimize production. Lal decided to build all Enfield bikes on a single platform to maximize economies of scale. The Royal Enfield Classic, launched from this single platform, caught the fancy of the Indian masses. The Classic range of bikes has been crucial in making the company the mass production monster it is today. While India was always awed by bullets and revered the machine, the launch of the Classic took things to a whole different level. A whole country took one look at the Royal Enfield Classic and fell in love with the clean lines, the retro round headlight, and a simplicity that made the motorcycle a heartthrob amongst people from all walks of life. Even today, the Classic 350 is the highest selling motorcycle in the brand's portfolio. But like in any good story, in this story too, our hero faced a few challenges. Despite a massive fan following, a section of motorcyclists have always been displeased with the machines. The heavy weight, massive vibrations, and lack of even basic features like fuel gauges and underpowered engines were frowned upon by some. This was usually swept aside by Royal Enfield aficionados who cited these shortcomings as character of the motorcycle and claimed to love the motorcycles for these very reasons, as the charm of the machine lied in the simplicity. When asked why they rode Royal Enfields, the Classic response would be, "Bullet ki feel hi alag hai yaar," loosely translating to, "It feels different, there's something special about it." But a major chink in the manufacturer's armor was quality. The quality control on Enfields was simply lacking. Online forums were filled with disgruntled customers who were charmed by the brand at first but were highly disappointed after the honeymoon period ended and they were confronted with the reality of their beloved machines. The issues just kept cropping often, and a common joke among Royal Enfield critics was to own an Enfield, you had to be good friends with a mechanic or become one yourself. A prime example of this was the Royal Enfield Himalayan launched in 2016. This bike was Enfield's foray into the rapidly growing adventure touring segment in India, as riders tackled bad roads on long tours and sometimes even on regular office commutes. This bike launched to accolades by motorcycle journalists, as they believed the motorcycle did what it was meant to do brilliantly and it would bring in a new era for the brand. But the problems began barely a few months into the sale of the Himalayan. New Himalayan motorcycles with just 7 kilometers on the odometer faced critical issues like gearbox failure and paint chipping from the insides of the fuel tank, thereby blocking the fuel pipe. One customer had a cylinder head changed after just 200 kilometers. An especially disturbing visual that surfaced online was the bike's chassis simply breaking into half. A few customers went ahead and sued the company for subpar products, and this is in a country where the general population is terrified of court cases. Royal Enfield and Siddharth Lal took stock of the situation and promised the customers that the quality would be improved and such issues would be reduced. To their credit, Enfield has come a long way in the past few years as far as quality is concerned. While not yet impeccable or comparable to their Japanese counterparts, Royal Enfield's current crop of motorcycles in 2021 fares far better than their predecessors. The Himalayan 2 in its BS6 form is a better finished product compared to its launch. Despite all the shortcomings, the name Royal Enfield still carries weight. The brand has a massive cult following. And a huge credit for this goes to the people behind the company, as they really are branding geniuses. The brand doesn't just offer motorcycles, no. It offers an experience. Buying a Royal Enfield grants you entry into a huge motorcycling community spread across the length and breadth of the country. You will find groups of riders thumping away on a highway, cruising lazily to their destination. The mountains in northern India are filled with riders from even the southernmost tip of the country who ride for days and arrive in Leh and Ladakh to conquer the mountains and ride across treacherous roads and arrive at the Khardungla Pass, the highest motorable road in the entire world. It is a rite of passage for many Enfield riders. The company has been organizing rides for its customers for years now, again creating a tight-knit community experience. Ridermania, which is an annual event organized by Royal Enfield, brings together motorcycle owners from across the country who ride towards Goa for a celebration of everything motorcycling. The attending members are varied in their attire and temperament. One differently abled rider rode with his wheelchair strapped to his motorcycle in the 2019 Ridermania. Royal Enfields also happen to be the most modified motorcycles in India. You can find a custom bike to your taste or a person ready to build the most outlandish machines working upon the frame and engine of an existing Enfield. There are riders strewn across the country who work on their motorcycles themselves and lend a helping hand to others. A gentleman known as Bullet Money in Kerala has fixed 750,000 Royal Enfield bikes throughout his life and is now imparting those skills to his daughters. Such stories don't emerge out of other brands. This is how Royal Enfield has been successful in entwining itself with the identity of a nation. Currently, the brand is expanding beyond just the Indian market and also focusing on the US and UK, where the recently launched 650 Twins, the Interceptor and Continental GT are slowly but surely luring in customers. The bikes are cheaper than the competition and especially appeal to new riders and older experienced riders who want something easy and full of character, which is different than the crotch rockets hitting the market every day. The Interceptor's tagline fits very well. Easy, just got back. Today in India, the 350 and 500cc lineup is slowly going to be replaced or given a generational update, which is necessary for the brand to hold on to its market share. Royal Enfield has also started its own line of riding gear, which is slowly generating popularity and appeal. And for the future, they have multiple bikes in the lineup that are regularly spotted testing, and Enfield has been registering bike names every now and then. If Siddharth Lal's track record is anything to go by, even more success and exciting products are in line for Royal Enfield, and I for one am looking forward to it. That was it for this video. Like and share the video if you gain knowledge, and subscribe for more videos I will release soon. Comment and tell me at least one thing from this video that caught your attention and list down topics that you would like me to cover. Thank you for your time. This was Knexchange.